Just neglecting the Panthers.
I mean, they deserve to be neglected. Sorry.
I mean, I can't argue that. So whatever.
What's going on, everybody? We are live. Yeah, might as well hit the intro now. We're gonna be talking some Steelers, gonna be talking some Ravens, talking some Panthers, talking some boxing, and we're gonna be talking about the best sports games ever. Stay tuned.
Image, your beats are so fire.
I feel we can beat the Browns. We can compete with Baltimore if they have Lamar, and we're right there with the
That young man put his life on the line for you, for your entertainment.
We were talking all before the game. You know, everyone was like, "Nah, Ravens don't have a shot," and they're right there. You know, I really need to fix that intro.
You know, I was about to say,
I still have it crossed out.
Like people joke about it all the time with you, make fun of you, whatever. But I'm seeing it now. Like the amount of Raven stuff in that intro is shocking.
Yeah, well, we know who made it, so I mean, go figure.
Yeah, so
well, what's going on?
Cereal with the Steelers.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great day. It is Tuesday night, and we are back for Still Conspiracy. Talking Steelers, talking Panthers, and talking Ravens. As you can see, my voice is a little raspy because
you sound like you were going to pass out mid-show.
I'm not going to pass out. I'm not tired or anything. It's just my voice is gone. So, I apologize for that. What's going on, Jeremy Miller? What's up, Brandon Bozell?
What's up, y'all?
It's just one of those days, man. Today was a long day at work, even though I didn't have any work, but still was a long day. Didn't want to be there. It's just, man. So, but before we get started with the show, like we do like to do every show, we like to give you a Latino fact of the day, and Brodny has a Latino fact for you of the day.
Yeah. So for this week's Latin fact of the day,
you sound like you had it prepared. Let me tell you something. That joke is from. Let me tell you something. That joke is from me sitting at a craft table, drunk as hell, going. You know what would be funny for me to. I figured you were gonna just not roll with it, just look at me like, "Suge, you dumbass! You didn't tell me about this," and you went right into it. You were like, "Oh no, here's the fact."
I was gonna give you one, but all right.
Well, it's because you're Spanish, so never drinking again. I'm never drinking again. I am. Are you still recovering? I've recovered, but it was bad. It was bad. It was pretty bad. We'll talk about my Vegas trip because it does coincide with a game that happened this weekend. So we will talk about that stuff because there are some things I want to talk about, like the Super Bowl being there. God.
I'm not a fan of that idea.
No, I'm a fan of it, but good God, I wouldn't want to be there. But we'll talk about it. But let's start off with some sports food and not a fact of the day, because that's for another show called LBHT, where they give you some great facts, and it's always Brodny giving you some great facts. So make sure to check them out. But in the sports news, Brodny, yes. Let's talk about, and we'll get into our picks from last week. But one pick that we did talk about, and we both chose, was Miami over the Broncos, and we were like, "Yeah, we think it's not going to be a close game." We thought, it's just gonna, but we thought it was gonna be a blowout. But Russell Wilson, let's go.
You can't have the margin of victory in a professional game be 50 points. Like, you shouldn't give up 50 points, but that definitely can't be the margin of victory.
Okay, again, and I'll be saying this a lot, and I apologize. I was drunk. I thought I was really drunk when I read that score. I had to give Kristen my phone and say, "Hey, can you reread this to me?"
What does this say? I don't know numbers.
Because it made sense. Like 20 points from the Broncos. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
To 7?
You know what I mean?
Okay, sure.
I was like, wait, no.
Little surprise.
I was like, that's just wrong. Like, so did they score 35 and just double it for no reason? and Chris said, I was like, no, that's the score. And I was like, dear God, what happened? Why was it the score like that? And just Miami put that's not even a beat down. That's just freaking child abuse at some point.
Every single time the score came, like the ticker came around, they had more points. It was shocking. Denver, I didn't watch the game because obviously I was watching the Ravens and the Panthers, but
I don't know why you did that, but okay.
Denver had to quit. They had to have quit in that game.
They quit at the halftime.
Mike White to Chosen Anderson for 60 some yards and a touchdown. Come on, you're not trying.
The thing that surprised me the most was Mike White getting
exactly. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, no, let Russ cook.
What's up, Jay? Yeah, that was a debacle. But the worst thing that happened in that game, worse than the score, worse than the Broncos obviously quitting on defense, was the Dolphins refusing to go for the all-time points record.
Right? like you've already been disrespectful. You might as well be a little bit more
you're throwing bombs with Mike White. Let's not pretend it's about being classy.
Right?
You're never going to score 70 again. Go get the record.
I was hoping Mike McDonald would break the record, but I guess he respects Denver too much since he's from Colorado. No, he doesn't, because he said, let's hang 70 on him, and then I'll be a little bit respectful. And like if you look at obviously the score was way out of hand. Russ played an okay game, 306 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. And Tyreek Hill had 157 yards, and might as well stayed in there and go for a little bit more. I don't know, Brodny. This Miami team is looking really good, and you're hanging 70 on people. That's scary. You think you can keep it up though?
Not scoring like close to 70 every week. But
they're not going to score 70.
No, they're legit. Okay, like this is what happens, and this is what we always talk about with the Ravens. Why you need to always be going for high end talent, right? I mean, they got Tua, and Tua. I mean, personally, I kind of look at him as kind of a middle of the road quarterback, maybe a little bit better than that in the league. But then you put Tyreek Hill on one side, and you put Jalen Waddle on the other side, and which, by the way, he didn't even play in this game, and they dropped 70. But you bring those two guys in, and then also you bring in an offensive guru in McDaniel to be the coach, and you just turn them loose, right? Who
looks like a straight nerd.
Well, he is, but he's great at his job, though.
Yeah,
Baltimore, they're like, we got Lamar. Let's go and sign any injured 30-plus player that we can and take it away. El Freaky there. What's up, Chris?
This is so disrespectful. Wow. What's up, fellas? My 2 favorite closet Ravens fans. Look at Chris. Every Monday, I gotta watch you do a show, and you tell people don't be disrespectful. They don't know you like that, and then you come in the chat and act like this.
That's pretty rich coming from the Jackson hater I've ever seen.
What's up, Christo? I appreciate you, man. I always love watching you on Mondays. I watch your deep cover podcast when I can. Appreciate you stopping by, man. I hope you're having a great night. Again, my voice is gone, everybody. I apologize. It's just this weekend was kind of nuts. It was a sad sight for DJ to pull Fields out of the game. Been through too much. Dolphins got 2 touchdowns on the exact same play call. Did y'all hear Tyreek want to do porn after he retires? I mean,
why are you bringing that in here, Jeremy? Why are you always out of pocket, man? Like, just 1 week. 1 week, I want to see you behave on every show.
All right. Now, speaking of putting points on people, which I don't did I put it as a topic? No, I did not. Oh yeah, I did. But excuse me. Ooh, what? Hold up. No, okay, never mind. I thought it said blows. I was like, Colorado gets blown out by Oregon. You had kind of said this last week. You had been saying it over the last couple of weeks. But I don't. A lot of people are. That's not what they're upset about. I didn't download the video. I didn't put it up. But basically, before the game, Oregon's coach has Preston there, and he's giving a speech, and he says something about they're doing it for clicks. We're doing it for wins, things like that. And I know a lot of people have a problem with what he said, but the two craziest things I'm seeing coming out of this is one, and I don't know if you know this, Bo Nix, the defensive coach in Colorado, apparently was there for when he was born in the hospital when he was there.
Oh wow,
he's a family fan, everything, yeah. And people are going nuts, and they're saying he sabotaged Dion. That players were put out of position on purpose because he wanted to see Oregon win. Christ. And now we have this conspiracy, and they're calling for his job.
People are idiots.
And I'm just baffled because the week prior we had the Travis Hunter hit, and people called for Blackburn to be kicked out of college football, should be suspended. They were accusing him of being a rapist, that he was arrested, and how can he play college football if he was a rapist? And people were giving him death threats. Family was getting death threats, things like that. And now you're calling for a staff member, not of another team, of Colorado for his job because you think he sabotaged you. Let me just be very clear, and this is no disrespect to Colorado or anything like that. They're just not that good yet. And that is the key word.
And they know that. And Dion knows that. And look, I'm not saying that they went out there and laid down or anything, but they didn't expect to win this game, and I'm sure they don't really expect to win next week. They're going to go out there and they're going to play as hard as they can. They're going to try, obviously, but Oregon and USC are just better teams than them right now. And it's his first year there. They were a 1-win team last season.
They've tripled their wins.
That's to be expected. You're not going to go from 1 win to being one of the best teams in college football, in that one part of an off season. It's just not going to happen. But this is kind of what happens when you kind of cross the barrier of just sports fans into just people who aren't there for sports necessarily, and this isn't anything, right? But like when you bring in kind of outside fans who aren't there for that thing, these are people who are in it for Dion, not for Colorado, not for college football, blah, blah, blah. And you're gonna see maybe not the exact same thing, but a similar thing going on in the NFL with Taylor Swift fans following the Chiefs now because of Travis Kelce, and it's just,
which we'd not be talking about tonight.
No,
we will be talking about that on Friday. Just letting you know.
Cool. But no, it's just dumb. And look, I don't think that those people saying that really actually believe it, but they're entertaining themselves. You get online and start talking about conspiracies and blah blah. It's whatever. It's stupid, but it's whatever.
I agree with you, but then also too, you're putting it in people's minds, and you got people tagging Dion, tagging this defensive coordinator, asking questions. And I'm sure Dion's now going to have to answer it like he had to answer the Blackburn thing. And it's just like, are we that? And it's stupid. To be honest with you, it's just stupid. It's just like, first off, if a coach is going to sabotage something like that, he's taking out the best player and breaking their leg. Okay, that's what he's doing because you can't like maybe you can put the player in the wrong scheme. But they still need to make tackles. They still need to make plays. Yeah. Players are going to still do that stuff. So if they're good, they're going to make up for the lack of scheme. And in this case, they weren't. They just weren't the better team. Like, and again, I understand what's going on. I was talking to Jose earlier today, and I heard coaches stream and everything like that. I think a lot of the big programs are scared because now kids are going, yo, I could go play for Colorado. I'm going to
Mhm.
get exposure to get money while also getting an education, while also getting prep from a NFL legend to go to
Mhm.
the NFL. What do you offer me
Yeah,
that you could offer that's more
tradition.
okay, okay.
You
And
know,
if
like
you're a
that,
traditionist, yeah,
and it's a bad argument, right? Like you're gonna lose kids on that.
yeah, and
Uh,
if you're one of those kids that like tradition, cool, you're gonna stay.
yeah,
Nobody's gonna
yeah.
change that. But if you're not, you're saying I could get prepared by an NFL Hall of Famer to
Hmm.
try to go to the NFL, make money, get exposure, and if I'm good enough, I'll get the playing time. I'm gonna go play for him. And I think coaches are scared, and that's understandable and that's okay. So yeah, they're gonna try a little extra harder. They're gonna be a little bit more on edge when they play Colorado.
Yeah.
It's understandable. But to sit here and start like all this conspiracy theories and all these things, it's just come on. Like why
Who
are we doing
sabotaged
this?
the offense? Because they only scored the 6 points, right? Was he?
Maybe it was Dion. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Dion. It's just nuts. And we like you said, next week Colorado versus USC. We're gonna see what happens. I do believe Colorado's gonna play better. But we will see,
I don't.
and
I think it's gonna be
and if it
it'll be
had
just as bad, and it's fine.
yeah, and if it's just as bad, okay. They're 3-2. They're then but then you look at the rest of the schedule, it's a cakewalk. They should run that schedule.
I don't know. I don't know they're gonna run the schedule. I mean, you gotta remember they're a bad team, but I mean they should get to bowl eligible, and that's a huge win for Colorado, who again had one win
One
last
win.
season.
Yeah, one
Like,
win. And you're probably gonna get to a bowl game. Might even
and
no,
it'll
you
be a
probably won't
good
because they'll
bowl
be
game. I
yeah.
know it'll be a good bowl game because those bowls are gonna want Dion at their bowl game and want all the eyes that he's gonna bring with him.
You're talking about it's not gonna be the Taco Bell bowl game.
No,
Might be the Chick-fil-A.
yeah, and
The-
now, it's funny 'cause I don't know what they're going to do with all the bowl affiliations now that every all the conferences are disintegrating and everybody's moving around and everything. That'll be a little bit interesting to see. But I mean, I think it's going to be not obviously not one of the New Year's Day bowls or anything, but it'll be one of the premium tier 2 or 3 bowls, like a holiday bowl or something like that.
His speech felt the most desperate thing ever, especially when Colorado is even in the best team in the Pac-12. Yeah, but it's not desperate because that's all anybody is talking about.
Yeah, that was kind of his point. They're not the best team in the Pac-12, but like you said, that's all
Everybody,
anybody's talking
but
about.
everybody's talking about everybody's. But so the coaches got to tell his guys because you got to. I mean, you do a podcast. You're one of the best Ravens podcasts out there.
Thank you.
But then another podcast comes along and this guy just screams and yells and uses a voice changer and things like that. And people are like, yo, he's the best podcast out there. Like, wait a minute, we've been doing this for a couple years now.
Right.
Why all of a sudden is he the best? And I'm not saying Dion's loud or anything like that, but I'm saying the new shiny toy isn't always the best thing, and it sucks when you've been putting in the work. And I heard Mike say it last night. He goes, "Well, I hope they did all this not to end up at the Cheetos Bowl," which is true. Like they better be in the Pac-12 championship. They better try to be in the the national championship playoff game.
Well, yeah,
things like that.
and
So you
that
want to
was
be,
true.
you know,
Yeah, that was
but
true. Even if he didn't make this speech, right? Like that's the kind of talent they have at Oregon, and sometimes, a lot of times, they lose the teams that they're not supposed to lose to, and they don't reach where they should get to. I mean, they got blown out a couple times last year, right? When they had not exactly the same roster, obviously, but they had Bo Nix, they had a lot of talent there, and people kind of thought that they were upper tier team. So yeah, they have to. It's hard to say a team has to go undefeated, right? But they got to be undefeated, one loss, be in that Pac-12 championship, be in the running for the playoffs. Like anything less should be a massive disappointment for them.
absolutely. So I understand when he gave the speech, and it doesn't seem desperate to me. It seems a little playing to the camera. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it's desperate. So, where was I don't buy that conspiracy. Oregon already had enough talent to beat Colorado. Yeah, but if you go on Twitter, people are just losing their mind. Deion said himself he needs 6 or 7 more dogs on the team, and he's going to get them. Recruiting next year for Colorado is probably going to be amazing. I think
Yeah.
if I read correctly, he's already got a player committed that's really high on as a recruit. I don't know. I don't know how recruit works. Of I understand the 4 stars, the 5 stars, and everything like that. But it's a high recruit coming to Colorado, most likely.
I'm sure he does. And you have the transfer portal now where kids can put their name in there and switch schools and not have to sit out. I'm sure that a lot of people are going to enter that portal thinking, man, it'd be great if I could land at Colorado.
Yeah.
And apparently, they have another. Travis Hunter was the top corner in the country when he was recruited to Jackson State. Apparently, they have another top corner on the team right now who's not even playing on defense at this point. So yeah, I mean the talent is going to be there, and then then they'll have to battle it out with the other 2 teams left in the Pac-12. Should be interesting, but
well, aren't they going to? They're going to debate. They're going to.
They're going. Yeah, I believe they're going to the Big 12, but.
What's up, Big Red?
It's a lot of expectations being put on Colorado by people who are just looking and paying attention for the first time and not really thinking about how talented the team actually is at this point.
Yeah, the Piggly Wiggly Bowl. Piggly Wiggly is a Southern staple. You damn right. All right. On some other news, and we'll talk about this. We'll kind of talk about the injuries later. But this weekend, huge fight between Canelo and Charlo.
Yes.
And could you please? His first name is
Jermell.
Jermell Charlo. Thank you very much. So Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo this weekend. How excited are you for this fight? I have said I think Charlo's going to get waxed. Your brother has said no. You kind of said no, but you think he's going to lose. How do you feel about this fight? I don't want to predict anything because I know you're going to do it on your show, but I just want to get what you're feeling about this fight because Mike even said it last night. It's not being promoted that big.
It's really not. It's a huge fight. This is, I believe. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's the first undisputed versus undisputed title fight ever. Because Jermell Charlo, he's the undisputed champion at 154. He's jumping up 2 weight classes to 168, where Canelo is the current undisputed champion, and they're fighting. So I believe this is the first time that we've had 2 undisputed champions fight. So I mean, it's big in that sense. Just kind of the history of it. It's also big because Canelo is, one of the faces of boxing at this point. Has been for quite a while. He's probably, the most or second most popular fighter going. And, he may be losing a step, it's looked like it a little bit in his last few fights, where Jermell Charlo, is kind of in his prime and has been, putting on great performances. So just from a talent standpoint, you got 2 of the best fighters out there. They're both on my top 10 pound for pound list, on our site on Ring Kings podcast. So you're talking about 2, it's coming. 2 of the best fighters in the world right now. One definitely in his prime in Charlo. One maybe just exiting his prime in Canelo. But it should be a great event. And, even if Canelo is coming out of his prime, even if he is, declining a bit, you still have that 14-pound difference just in their weight classes. And you got to see how that is going to affect him. Because recently, in his recent fights, Canelo has, he's declined defense. He just said, no, I'm not going to do that. And he just kind of walks forward and tries to walk through punches and just wears opponents out. And Charlo is a phenomenal boxer. When he fought Brian Castano, he boxed and moved and just, really beat on Castano for the entirety of the fight. And Castano is a very good fighter and just beat on him and really didn't take any punishment himself. So he put on a masterful performance there. So it'd be interesting to see if he can do that with the much bigger, much stronger Canelo this weekend. I tend to think that the size is just going to be too much for him. Right now, I think that you can say the skill probably favors Charlo with the way Canelo's been fighting over those last 3 or 4 fights. But I think the size and power is going to be too much over a 12-round fight.
Yeah, and especially if Canelo eats that special beef.
Wow.
We can definitely. I'm just saying.
It's not special, tainted.
To me, I'm tainted. That makes me special. Feels like I haven't watched a meaningful boxing match in a minute, but I'm a casual. Yeah, I used to be a huge boxing fan. I kind of fell out of it, and then I met 2 guys that got me back into it. That had a podcast called Ring Kings, which I haven't seen in a while. So hopefully they bring it back very soon.
I mean, you should get on YouTube, man.
I mean, I don't see it. It should pop up because I hit the notification bell.
You know how YouTube be playing with them notifications, man.
Yeah, but I don't know if you know this, Brodny.
It says Old Man Gamers is back. Christ. God damn it. I just wasn't even expecting it that time. That hurts. I feel like you ever watched Dan Le Batard's show, Highly Questionable on ESPN, and how Poppy would do the fake like high five with people and they would go crazy. That's how I feel right now. I can't believe you hit me with the clip. You haven't played it in forever. And now I'm just
and then I play it. Well, I was in Vegas and I didn't win. I didn't leave a winner, but the Steelers did. So here's a couple highlights from the game.
On 3rd and 7, Pickett drops, firing deep downfield, streaking is Calvin Austin, who's got it, and he's got it all. Touchdown Pittsburgh, but there's a flag back near the line of scrimmage. He scored 16 unanswered. Pickett to the end zone. Freiermuth touchdown. Great look.
And so, we talked about it just last week, and you called him Kenny. You stopped calling him Kenneth.
Yeah.
And, you said, look, he's got to get on track. And now I will say this. I understand why the Ravens got rid of Marcus Peters because he dropped a for sure interception touchdown. But after that, Kenny played great. I'm not saying great. He played solid. He was able to what the play callings they were giving him make plays up until that fourth quarter. After a certain play, which we'll talk about, he played well enough to get him a big lead. And the defense really shined. TJ Watt has really been playing excellent, and we're going to talk about him in a minute. But there was a play Steelers were up on the Raiders, and a play happens, and I want to talk about it real quick because it was baffling. And officiating wasn't that great this week. We'll obviously talk about the officiating in the Ravens game, but this play happened, and I wanted to get your opinion.
Mika Fitzpatrick coming right in. Terry McCauley, we're talking forcible contact, right? Helmet to helmet.
If that's what we're calling helmet to helmet now, good God. Why don't we just put on flags, please? Because that was not helmet to helmet. That was a guy coming in to tackle a quarterback who was going to get sacked. And it would have took it to 3rd and 15 or something. They were still close enough to where they could have still scored a touchdown. But like, why are we even letting these guys tackle if we're going to call helmet to helmet there? It was a great, and even the person that how they bring somebody in, they say, they're ex refs or whatever. What was your opinion? And they say, oh well, it was this and that, and it's just like he even said he goes it glanced. So yeah, I don't think that should have been called. What are your thoughts, Brodny?
I mean, look, I figured that you would see it that way, obviously, but no, he came in, like you said, he was blitzing. He was going after the quarterback. He led with his head. He hit him with his head, and then he stood over his lifeless body because he's dirty, just like he did against Nick Chubb the week before, possibly ending his career. The guy's a menace. The guy's a menace. If Big Reg is still in here, I think you should start sending them some messages. Some of the messages you like on Twitter. They got to get him out. No, it's he barely touched him, barely. And listen, I mean, if you're going to tackle somebody, you're gonna lead with your head because it's on the top of your body. So, but he hit him in the shoulder and knocked him down. And Jimmy, I mean, it obviously hurt, and he stayed down for a minute, and that's why they threw the flag. It looked like helmet to helmet, and then Garoppolo's reaction, just being on the ground, not moving. It kind of I understand why they threw the flag, but look at a replay and then pick it up.
I mean, good guy. He looked like he. Oh, it was so frustrating because again, the game wasn't over. I'm not gonna say this was like a game changing play, but they were at the 20, knocked it back to about the 25, 30, 27-yard line. Steelers had momentum. The defense was playing well, and it was more frustrating than anything, because it's like, why are you calling helmet to helmet? And then, like you said, you look at the replay, it barely glances. Go ahead and pick up the flag, and they go to 3rd and 15, 3rd and 17. German Miller, Minka, and another controversy. And
I'm all for player safety, right? You have to protect the players, and if he hits him in the head, you have to throw that flag. And like I said, I understand throwing it because of the way it looked in real time. It looked like he hit him helmet to helmet, and it looked like Jimmy was very hurt. But you got big screens. Just look up real quick and then pick up the flag and keep moving. That's all.
I mean, they couldn't see with all those Colts towels waving around at the stadium.
Let me tell you something, man.
Let me tell you something. Walking around Vegas, I saw more Steeler fans than I did Raider fans, and it was funny. The thing and Chris had pointed it out to me, Brodny, for every Steeler fan, they had a Raider friend. It was very weird.
It's not weird at all.
At the tailgate, there was probably, I say 20 people that showed up, couples of 2 people or 3 people, and then they would have one Raider friend with them.
It's not weird at all. I wouldn't go to a Raiders game without a Raiders fan with me. You're liable to leave dead.
Well, I was there and I survived, luckily. That's because Christy kept opening my mouth.
She probably had that picture of you in the Raiders jersey on her phone. No, it's okay. It's all right.
He's converted. In which also too, I was not at the game, Jeremy. I was actually at a tailgate as a watch party, but I was right next to the stadium.
Fights.
I wasn't trying to start any fights.
Trying to start fights.
I will say, and it kind of deviates from the game. The Super Bowl is going to be nuts there. First off, this place is 24 hours. Mm-hmm. Vegas is not a young man is a young man's game now. I can't do it anymore because I was dead tired every other night. I could go all night one night, and then the next day I'm just want to sleep all day. Yeah. Vegas is going to be crazy for the Super Bowl. The stadium is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful, yeah. And the weather is going to be perfect. They're working on the Formula One. Is it Formula One?
Yeah.
There's a race going on that's going to be happening that they're building all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be awesome. The hotels are getting ready for it. It's going to be wild. It really. I don't be surprised if 1 or 2 players get in trouble being in Vegas, because let me tell you something. It's nuts over there. But the Steelers fans that were out there, it was really crazy because I walked a lot of Fremont Street. We did walk a little bit of the Strip, but not too much. I can't handle the Strip anymore. I understand now why people say the older people go to Fremont, because screw all that. Go to Fremont, you look at the lights, you drink, and you go play some old freaking slots or table games and relax. Leave the Strip for the young kids because it is too much. And then they have live stage music in 3 different spots of Fremont. So it's nice. Oh, I would the last night I was listening to 80s music, having a great time. I was standing there drinking.
Just being old as hell.
He was old as hell, but it was good because I had a great time. I had some barbecue. Actually, it was a Steeler fan that told us after the game, they said, go to Binion's. There's a barbecue place. And on the menu, there's only like 6 things. It's meals, but it's only 6 things. There's chicken, there's brisket, there's ribs, there's a combination, and things like that. I got brisket and ribs, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
But could have only been amazing because it was 11 o'clock at night. I was drunk as hell. I don't know.
Or because they have 6 things so they can do them right.
The brisket was very tender. Like you didn't have to like gnaw on the brisket. Like it was, you cut it, eat it. It was amazing. But going back to the game, I like what I saw from Kenny. Again, Marcus Peters had a for sure interception, probably a touchdown if he doesn't drop it. But I like what I saw from him. And after that mistake, he was able to get himself on track. And I don't know if you watched the game, Brodny, or you just watched the highlights. Shout out to Ferris because me and him created that show. What did you take away from this game? Because you talked about it last week. Can they get back on track? And again, we've talked about they don't need to be this high output offense. They just gotta be efficient and not make mistakes. What were your thoughts about the game?
Well, look, I think that these are the kind of games that every team needs once in a while. Like, and this is why I said that they would get back on track. You need to play a team like the Raiders, who aren't that great, aren't really going anywhere this season, honestly. And you can go out there and kind of work the kinks out and get yourself moving and start to feel good about what you're doing. Obviously, Marcus Peters is not the Marcus Peters of old. That had a potential to be a crushing play if you follow up the first 2 weeks with a Marcus Peters pick 6. But like you said, dropped. It's all good. If he found Calvin Austin, he found Freiermuth, got himself into a little bit of a rhythm, something that they can build on moving forward. And you do that against these lower tier teams. Carolina had a game like that this week as well. But just unfortunately, Bryce Young was hurt and didn't get a chance to play, so he didn't really get to be out there and try to get into that rhythm. It's the Red Rifle instead, and I don't even really want to talk about that, if I'm being honest.
He look good.
Listen, Andy Dalton's he's not a terrible backup or anything, and he's a good backup. He was a good starting quarterback for a long time, and he's much more experienced than Bryce. He knows. He knows what he's doing out there, essentially, right? He's not going to panic. He's seen it all before, but he's not a great quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. And with the protection issues in Carolina and if I'm being honest, the Colorado lack of talent issues in Carolina, it wasn't going to go their way. But I was just really hoping that Bryce would be starting for that game so that he'd be able to complete some passes, see the receivers open, and making plays for him, maybe score some points and start to build the confidence up, because the first 2 weeks weren't that great.
Yeah. And, get him, and we'll talk more about the Panthers next. The Red Rifle. The reason why he got beat up in the AFC North, if he wasn't getting beat up by the Ravens, he's getting beat up by the Steelers, and then Cleveland would come along and poo-poo on him too. So, he just had a hard time. Speaking of, like you said, Najee had a somewhat decent game. Nothing too crazy, only 19 carries, 65 yards. Deontay Adams had an amazing game, but now he looks pissed. He is not happy. And this was a win. Like your next game is against the Houston Texans. Even though I'm a little worried because they just put 37 on the team they played, so we gotta be a little worried.
They look ahead of schedule.
Yeah, so I think offensively, I think we're right where we need to be. But defensively, though, I mean, we got to talk about this man, TJ Watt.
No.
TJ Watt.
No,
is he? The man is playing at a defensive caliber level. he already has 9 tackles, 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries in the first 3 games. He is just playing out of his mind. I said it last year. You kind of make fun of me. I said without TJ Watt, we're not a good defense, and we look decent. Because if you look at us, you're like, okay, they're pretty good. But then you look at some of the yards we've given up, and it's like, oh, like we just gave up 175 to Devontae Adams with Jimmy Garoppolo throwing them the ball. Like, you got to be like, okay.
But Devontae will do that to a lot of people. He'll do that to
True.
a lot of good corners, and the Steelers don't have any good corners.
Don't you disrespect Patrick Peterson? He got an interception.
I'm not disrespecting Patrick Peterson. He's not very good. Levi Wallace is okay. Levi got himself 2 picks in this one, but
because Jimmy Garoppolo just threw them at him.
Yeah, but they're not good corners. What's up, Living Legend? But Devontae Adams will do that to the best corners out there. When he's on. So I wouldn't worry about that too much.
Damn right.
Because he had 172 yards and Garoppolo had 324. So he wasn't doing a whole lot outside of Devontae.
Yeah, Devontae looked good. Let me tell you something. If I'm a team, I'm trying to get him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that man because he looked really good. Do you think TJ Watt can win Defensive Player of the Year again?
No. I should. I don't think he's going to. I shouldn't say he can't. He's got the talent. Obviously, he's one of the best defense players in the league, but he's not going to win it. That's going to be Michael Parsons.
And what? I haven't looked at Michael Parsons' stats, so I don't know how he's been playing. Well,
I think that either the TJ has 3 sacks so far. I think that Micah Parsons got 3 sacks on 1 play against Daniel Jones because they were abusing that man. But yeah, I don't know the numbers. I know that he's been playing really well. Obviously, losing to the Cardinals. I know he plays defense, but losing to the Cardinals is always going to hurt your argument for anything. But I think at the end of the season it'll be Micah Parsons.
Gotcha. All right, and let's look forward to the Steelers versus Texans again. Like I just said, I wasn't worried about the Texans, but then I kind of
TJ's leading the league in sacks.
Yeah, that's what I was telling.
I thought you said he had 3. He has 6.
He has 6. He has 6. I said 3. He had 6.
I thought you said he had 3. My bad.
No, he has 6.
But no, the other guy who I think is going to be.
No, I said out of the 3 games, he has 6.
Gotcha.
6.
But Myles Garrett or Michael Parsons is where I think that award's going.
After this weekend, I'm not sure, Brodny. How you feeling about them? How about them? Those Cardinals. And so hold on. I had to rewatch the episode because I had to do our predictions.
Yeah.
And remember what we said about Ferris?
Yeah.
He is not happy right now. He is punching air. Shout out to Ferris. Like I said, at first I wasn't worried about the Texans, but after they just hung 37, I'm a little worried, but I think we have a better defense. If the Steelers can offensively just stay on track, I think our defense will be fine because they're going to be able to get pressure on the young quarterback. If we're not able to get that pressure, then like you said, our corners are not that great. That could be bad. But I feel like our defense shows up. They travel well, and I think they'll be prepared and be able to have Stroud make some mistakes. What are your thoughts about this game?
Yeah, look, I think that the Texans have a lot of young talent. I think C.J. Stroud has been really good so far. Tank Dell looks like he looks like a legit playmaker for him. Dameon Pierce, that's their second-year running back. Obviously, he's very talented. I think they have one of the early candidates for Defensive Rookie of the Year in Will Anderson. You have a great defensive coach in DeMeco Ryans. But I think that like any other young team or any team that's being coached by a first-time head coach with a rookie quarterback, some rookie playmakers, you're gonna have your ups and downs. You're not going to be consistent. So yeah, they put up 37 on the Jaguars. The Jaguars are struggling a little bit, and I would not expect Houston to be able to replicate that performance, especially like you said, going up against a veteran group in Pittsburgh. But they have the talent, so you can't really kind of just discount them all
Dismiss
together.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that you're going to see them putting up 37 again anytime soon.
Yeah, and we got some news today that Deontay Johnson is going to be out for a while. He's still having some issues. I think they had said like maybe 4 or 5 weeks, but now it looks like it might be a little longer.
Like with his hands or
his hamstring.
Okay, gotcha. My bad. I read that wrong.
You sure did. All right. Panthers Seahawks.
Yeah.
Let's look at some clips real quick.
You could
55-yard attempt. Pinheiro leans into it, and it's no good.
The hell, man.
Smith on a handoff. Walker. Nobody there. Walker takes it in for the score.
Where's DJ Chark?
Oh, I couldn't find that highlight.
Oh, you couldn't find it. They scored 27 points. You couldn't find any of their highlights. That's weird, man.
The highlight package that I downloaded did not have any of that there.
Yeah, it's just a package. It's not an a la carte thing. Okay,
Yeah,
I got you. That's why
there's no a la carte. There's no a la carte.
That's why you had to click 2 separate videos to play the thing.
Oh yeah, because I got to shorten them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to shorten them. You got to trim them up.
Gotcha.
Trim the fat off.
Trim the fat off. Yeah. Fantastic.
Bryce Young did not play.
No, he didn't.
You had Anthony Dalton, who played well.
Couldn't tell from the highlight reel. Didn't know who was in there, honestly.
Pretty good. But he threw 58 times, but he threw for 361 yards, 2 touchdowns. Geno Smith, 296 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Carolina seemed to be in this game, Brodny, but then it slowly just fell off. What happened?
I mean, like you said, they were in it, but they just couldn't maintain throughout the game. And Andy Dalton throwing 58 times is, in his best years, that's not a recipe for a win. The O-line is still having a lot of issues. Now, look, I don't subscribe to PFF, to Pro Football Focus, and their grading. But when it's extreme, there's something wrong, right? Like Chandler Zavala, who's the rookie left guard for Carolina, who's starting right now because Austin Corbett and Brady Christensen are both out injured. Guess what his pass blocking grade was? They go 0 to 100, and it's just kind of excuse me. They mark you down for missing blocks, giving up hurries, giving up sacks, things like that, and then you get positive points for making your block. Obviously, guess what you think his grade was?
I would say a 5.
Keeping in mind that a bad grade, we'll say, starts around 59.
Oh, okay. Well,
because it's 0 to 100. So in the 60s, it's not good, but it's not okay.
Terrible. So I'll say he was in the 50s.
Okay, my man got a 0.
He didn't even get his name right.
They said
don't you at least get 10 for putting your name right?
They counted 14 hurries that my man gave up. 14 in a single game. So I'll tell you this, and he's an incredible teammate because he played in college with Ike Ekwonu. They were teammates in college, the left tackle and left guard at I want to say NC State, right? But so they got Ike in the first round last year. This year they came back and they got Chandler Zavala on day 3, and he continues to be an incredible teammate because he got Ike off the hook for this week. Ike was terrible. He was terrible. He had multiple false start penalties. But if you're standing next to somebody who gave up 14 hurries, nobody looking at you. Nobody can see you anymore, right? and I don't even want to come down on them really because Ekwonu is a second-year left tackle, and left tackle is the O-line is a difficult transition period, right? It takes a while, sometimes a few years before you really get to consistent good play, and particularly at left tackle. And then you got Chandler Zavala, who is, I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, but I want to say he was a 6th-round pick, and he's a rookie, and he's kind of thrown into the starting lineup. So I don't want to bash him too much, but God damn, bro, like hold something. Get your hands on somebody and just don't let go. I bet you, I guarantee you, they wouldn't care if you held people a couple times. If you're giving up that many hurries in a game,
Yeah.
Reach out and hold Ekwonu so he's not jumping false start every play. Do something, man.
Right, step on his foot, something. Now with Bryce being hurt, but Andy Dalton playing kind of well. Will Andy Dalton be the starter for the rest of the year?
Damn it! No, he's not going to be the start. The second Bryce Young is healthy, Bryce Young is back on the field, and that might be this week. It might not. It might not, but he's feeling better every day, and they're kind of trending towards him playing. We'll see if it turns out that way. But if not this week, definitely next week, Bryce Young will be back. Andy Dalton is not good. Nobody wants Andy Dalton. We're not tanking because we don't have a first-round pick.
Yep. All right. I mean, even though he threw for
but he threw the ball 58 times, Suge.
I mean,
58 times.
Sometimes you just gotta let loose.
No. Hey, what's up, Ferris?
He said he was a 5th-round pick.
Did you say everyone in false starts? Ferris, he got false started. He false started on back-to-back plays, bro. And I think what did he have, Jay? Like 4 for the game?
Yeah, Jay said he had 4 false starts.
Yeah.
All right, let's look to
not everybody, Ferris.
Let's look to Panthers versus Vikings.
I don't want to. We mentioned we talked about. Well, I mean, we talked about it before the show. Xavier Woods, one of the Panthers starting safeties, injured his hamstring. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. J.C. Horn, the only decent corner on the team, injured his hamstring as well a couple of weeks ago, and he's out. I mean, it seems like indefinitely right now. They haven't put a number on it. So they're missing a couple of guys in what is already a kind of thin secondary. They do have some decent depth at safety, so I don't think that'll kill them. But he's it's obviously not good, right? And now this week we've got god damn it, Ferris. Anyway, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and KJ Osborne to defend, and it's just gonna go poorly. They haven't been blocking anybody at all this season. That's not a thing that they've been interested in doing up to this point. And Danielle Hunter is coming to town, and he's second in the league with 5 sacks right now. He could double that.
Trey Boston ain't walking through that door.
Really, he would, man. He's ready.
Former Cowboy safety Jeremy, Jesus, pull yourself together. WWE superstar Xavier Woods.
The fact that he put superstar in there is hilarious to me.
Made the same joke when he was a Cowboys fan, Ferris. Going off of, once again, not because of it. He's the number 1 wide receiver now. He wants, but it's a revenge game.
Ferris, I'm sorry, Suge. Why are you hitting me up in the Discord about where I got my ship in Starfield when you know I'm live? Why are you
no respect. No respect between people. Like, good God. You see a man doing a show, and I think he came in here to be like, yo, can you check your messages?
Right. And then he got distracted.
No respect. Jesus. What do you think the Panthers can win this game, though, Brodny?
I was gonna say absolutely, but I feel like I shouldn't lie. It depends. Like, nah.
No, okay.
Everybody's got a chance, right? Arizona beat Dallas, so
Yeah, you
But
know who could have beat Dallas? You know who could have beat Dallas?
No. Let's be fair. You know who couldn't score a point against Dallas?
Dallas, yeah. Who couldn't score a point against Dallas?
Fair as do you know?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
I forgot where you live. What?
No, you forgot we were live, man.
Oh, we're live. I'm sorry. I was like, wait, what? Okay. All right.
Yeah, they haven't been able to really get the run game going like they want to. Andy Dalton's not a savior. If Bryce Young comes back, he's be coming back off an injury, just making his third start. So it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great for a win this week, but I'm hopeful.
Okay. We can always be hopeful.
Yes.
And just don't get 70 late on you, okay?
They can never take that away from us.
All right. Chris is in from Deep Cover Podcast is in the house. His team, unfortunately, had some bad luck. Here's a couple of clips from the game.
Most effective way for Lamar Jackson to run the ball.
They're bringing the pressure, and the pass is incomplete behind Zay Flowers, and it's 4th down.
I'm noticing something with these highlight selections.
Don't move with the voice inflection of the quarterback.
Flowers in motion.
I might go with the draw here.
Jackson, incomplete.
This is why I love Jay. Look at that comment. Read that comment. My man says Justin Jefferson, Alexander Madison, and TJ Hawkinson could go nuts. Which one? I don't think Madison's capable of going nuts, but that's all right. But at the same time, Thielen and Chark could do the same. On what goddamn planet could Adam Thielen and DJ Chark do the same as Justin Jefferson, Jay? Please. You are killing me, Jay. This is what, again, I've told this to Jose. This is what you call toxic positivity. All right. And we've got to stamp it out wherever we see it.
Brodny will not stand for it. And the Ravens Colts game came down to this.
Snap good, hold good, kick on the way, and he's done it. Matt Gay splits the uprights at Indianapolis.
Ravens lose, and if you could had, I thought when I saw that they lost, I saw that comment. When the Ravens had lost, it was in Indianapolis, and this was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
How bad? Now, I'm not gonna say how bad this loss was, but how should Ravens be reacting to this loss?
If I were Ravens fans, I'd be pissed. Like,
I didn't say fans, but the Ravens themselves, the team.
The Ravens don't react, so that's not. They just keep it moving. Like, hey, we'll get the next one, whatever. No, they honestly.
Thank you, Adelia.
Hey, Adelia.
I had the score wrong.
What did you have of this?
I had it Ravens 22, Colts 19.
What it should have been. Gotcha. Yeah. But no, they were missing Ronnie Stanley and Tyler Linderbaum, their two best O-linemen. They were missing Marcus Williams and Marlon Humphrey, their two best defensive backs. They're missing Tyus Bowser, their best edge rusher. They're missing J.K. Dobbins, their best running back. And, they played a sloppy game and against a team who they probably thought we can't really lose to, especially with Anthony Richardson out and Gardner Minshew in their starting, right? So I think it was, the classic John Harbaugh not really being prepared for a team that you're better than and should beat, mixed with, they were missing a lot of players at key positions, and it just they didn't perform. Thank you, Chris, because I did. He is on IR, Tylan Wallace. So I mean, they are gonna miss those 0 catches for 0 yards every week. I will say that. But they'll
always have Prochet.
No, they don't. He was working out with the Vikings, I believe. No, was it this? Yeah, I think
always bring him back. They can always bring him back.
No, they can't.
To hug the kids.
But even with those things, they were one play or even one blown call away from winning the game. You showed the Lamar pass to Zay Flowers, which, it may have been behind him, or it may have been that Zay Flowers was supposed to stop his route there. Don't know. The next drive, they threw it to Isaiah Likely. He dropped the ball, and then they threw it to Zay Flowers again. It was pass interference. It wasn't called. But, they go to overtime, and they don't have anything going really on offense. And it looked like Greg Roman was back in the booth running things for him. It was just a bad day. But if I'm the Ravens, I'm not taking too much away from it. The main thing is, hey, we need to get healthy. They lost one of their safeties as well, in Geno Stone.
Yeah. Living Legend saying Harbs don't know how to manage the clock. We should have been kneeling in the fourth like Kaepernick. Speaking of Kaepernick, he sent a letter to the Jets asking if he could come to be on the practice squad. And
true to Jets fashion, they signed Trevor Siemian instead, because why would they want to win?
We forgot to mention that in sports news. No, I know there was a lot of mistakes, things like that. Obviously, like you said, I showed the pass where Lamar missed Flowers. Kind of threw behind him. I think Justin even said, Jeremy said, Justin Tucker missed a field goal before overtime, things like that.
Yeah, but it was like a 61-yard field goal. We don't really count
those. My question to you is, should non-flags be reviewed? So if it's apparent that there was some type of a foul, should a coach be able to challenge? Should a call become from the booth? What do you think we need to do? Because I'll say, as a Steelers fan, that was a flag. Mm-hmm. Was I happy it wasn't thrown? 100%. But it was a flag.
Because you ain't about integrity. But the answer
I'm not. I'm not.
The answer to this is obviously yes, you should be able to review it, but the league is not interested in having good officiating. They like having these controversial plays that affect the outcomes of games, and then people talk about it for the rest of the week. And that's just kind of how they roll. That's why they don't have full-time officials, and it's infuriating, but it's kind of the way it is. And the way they do reviews, they take so goddamn long. Like, if you let coaches review penalties, it'll be 5.5 hours every game.
See, and Jeremy, there was a couple things, because there was plays that I saw in the Steeler game, and I seen where the ref would literally come out and say, "There's no flag for roughing the passer, things like that." There have people watching the game on monitors. Mm-hmm. So if it's an egregious, obvious missed call or egregious, obvious that should have been called, like the Minka call, I think they should have somebody watching that. It's maybe two people watching that, and then say, "Oh, you know what? No, that wasn't the call," and you can tell the ref, "Hey, pick up the flag."
Yeah.
Now, could you get into controversy? Sure, because we don't know who those people are, and how integrity they are, how if they have integrity. But at the same time, I'm hoping the NFL doesn't employ people that have no integrity.
They do.
So, again, I don't know, because we've had this issue before. Obviously, we had the egregious call with the Saints. That
was a clean play.
Clean hit. I don't know about clean play. Them Zebras taking payments from their boss. But obviously, again, it was a pass interference, and it cost the Ravens the game. Now, should the Ravens been in that position? They're at home. Like, if this is in Indianapolis, I could be like, okay, I understand, but it's at home. Like,
they should have blown the Colts out, but you can't always do
especially
it,
at a backup QB, and they have a rookie QB, so realistically, it's like, okay, we should be able to play this team hard, but like you say, any given Sunday, but I feel it's a tough loss, and it could cause problems down the way. Obviously, injuries, things like that, but confidence-wise. Confidence in your coach, confidence in players. I heard you guys talking on Roundtable last night how Likely should have made that catch.
Mhm.
How can he not make that catch? It's right there in his hands. Do you then not have confidence in Likely anymore because he's been having some issues? Do you not have confidence in these players and trust that they can make a play in a big down? That can have an effect down the line, and I think we may see that. Not hopefully because the team has veterans, things like that. You won't, but at the same time, it could happen. And if that were to happen, I think it would be disastrous for the Ravens. Now, another issue I see here, Zach Moss rushed for 122 yards. Guess who the Ravens' leading rusher was?
Lamar Jackson.
That is not good.
No, it's not. But
It's not good.
Odell Beckham was out. Rashad Bateman got hurt at some point in the game. He felt his hamstring tighten up, and Todd Monken was not doing a great job calling plays. The O-line was doing a terrible job protecting, and they really just couldn't get anything going. And Lamar, made a few plays with his legs because I thought he had a good day, a pretty good day throwing the ball, but he had issues with ball security. Right, he fumbled twice. He held the ball too long and took a sack late in the game when the one thing that they couldn't do was take a sack. So everybody was just off. Everybody had a less than stellar day, except for Hard R. Ricard. If you listen to Coach Evans, apparently he did great. But everybody else, it was a forgettable performance.
Yeah. Now looking forward, they are playing the Browns.
Mhm.
This is a big game.
Yes,
It's a big game because it is a division rival.
Mhm.
The Browns are looking to they rebounded, but I think they know it's a divisional game. They can't go 0-2 in the division right off the bat. So they're going to be playing hard. Is the game in Cleveland or is it in Baltimore?
That I'm not sure.
It is in Cleveland.
I think this is the start of Baltimore's road stretch. They don't have a home game for the next month, I believe, because they have a home game against Tennessee in London.
Wow. That's just miserable. All right. So what do you think the Ravens got to do to get back on track and get in and get this win against a very tough Browns defense?
And I don't know, because look, the Bengals game, the O-line performed pretty well. And we all kind of expected with Ronnie Stanley out and with Linderbaum out against a good Bengals front that they would really struggle, but they didn't. They played well, right? And then you come back against the Colts, who, to be fair, have a good defensive front as well. But I mean, you just look abysmal. And now next week you're going up against Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith on the edges. And I mean, if I'm a Ravens fan, I would be terrified for Lamar. I'd be terrified about what those guys are going to do to that offense next week. They've got to hope, one, that Deshaun Watson forgets how to play football again, because he looked closer to his old self in this past game, except for the one play where he turned around and just threw the ball backwards. But outside of that, he looked pretty decent. So they got to hope that was a one-game anomaly and he just sucks now. And they've got to do something to help out. I forget the guy's name now. Mustafa at center and Makari at left tackle if Stanley and Linderbaum can't go again. Hopefully, Rashad Bateman will be good to go. Hopefully they can get Odell back, maybe. And the tough thing for Baltimore is really the answer for them is just getting healthy, and you can't rush that. So the likelihood is that they're just going to be shorthanded again, and Lamar's going to have to deal with not having much time in the pocket with those two great pass rushers in Cleveland, and it's going to be a long day for him.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. If Watson can play like he played, that he was playing in the beginning, then especially, and I think your defense might have to carry you in this game, and they
Why
might even.
Why are you saying you? I'm not a Ravens fan.
You are a Ravens fan. They might even need to get a defensive touchdown in this game. I believe, a pick or a fumble. Because again, you can't have Lamar being your leading rusher in a game. That just I get it. He scored 2 touchdowns. That's great, but you got to figure out a way. You don't want that, yes, especially because he has been injured and things like that. I am not a bigger Ravens
That's right,
fan.
Basil. Truer words never been spoken.
Sherman is picking the Browns. All right. We are flying through these topics because my voice is killing me. We're going to do our picks in a little bit, but I'm excited about this next topic because it was given to us by the great Jeremy Miller. Top 5 sports games of all time. Yes. And, Brodny, there's a couple in here that I forgot about that you picked. One of them has a great commercial. But I'm going to have you read your list because I don't know what kind of order you had them in. So
I didn't put them in order necessarily. I had a hard time. Getting down to 5.
Yes.
For a long time, I sent it to you this morning. This morning I had, I think, 10 games on this list. I had to cut it down. So I had a difficult time with it. But I'll just read them in the order I have them here. Again, this is not like 5-1 or anything, but Tecmo Super Bowl. That's not.
Oh, is it the Super Nintendo one?
Tecmo Super Bowl.
I knew it was a Super Bowl. I knew it was the damn Super Nintendo one, and listen, I downloaded this one. Anyway,
Tecmo Bowl is a great game too. But this is the first football game that I played, and it was big in our family. My brother Jose and my dad, we would all play, just seasons in one day. We'd all play all 16 of our games in the playoffs and all that. It was a lot of fun. And this game featured 2 of my favorite players all time, which are Randall Cunningham and Barry Sanders. Those are the guys who really got me into watching football. And, unlike some of the newer games, and I understand it was a very, very arcade game. It wasn't realistic in any sense of the word, right? But the stars were stars in Tecmo Super Bowl, and the other players were very much not. Right. And I think that's a thing that kind of gets lost in more modern games, having the stars.
That was it, right?
Yeah. But having the stars really stand out is kind of a thing that gets lost in more modern games. So that's one of my favorite of all time.
Or is it this one? Was it this one?
Well, I mean, there were both, but the one that I had was the cowboy one right there, and I don't love that. So
this one right here,
yeah, that's the one that I had growing up. But next up had, and I struggled with this one because I had another game that's related to this one on the list, but NFL 2K5, which is probably the greatest football game ever made, like in total. Their game All Pro Football 2K8 that came out a few years later is the best playing football game, like the best gameplay, the most realistic football game ever. But that one didn't have the NFL license, so they didn't have the current players. It was all legends. And then there was no franchise mode, so there wasn't a ton of replayability there. NFL 2K5 had presentation that was way, way, way ahead of its time. They had the ESPN presentation. They had sideline interviews. They had the halftime show with Chris Berman. They had weekly preparation where you would plan out each day during the week what drills your players are going to run, like what film they were going to watch, guys who are hurt, like what kind of rehab they would do, and you would run that, and it would affect their ratings for the upcoming game. So it was a lot of stuff that was, again, really ahead of its time, and unfortunately that was the last NFL game that 2K ever got to make because of the deal with EA and the NFL. Which ruined football gaming forever, but whatever. Next up is another 2K game, It's kind of a theme on this list, but NBA 2K11.
Hold on.
Giving it away. Just
Yep,
giving it away.
Now this is this the one with the who's the greatest team of all time commercials?
I
believe
don't
it is.
remember
Because this is when LeBron joined Miami, right?
No, I think he
2000.
yes. It was 2000. Well, this
2010 was
yeah,
but 2010 the Lakers had won. They won 2009, 2010.
and then he went and then he went to Miami.
Yeah, they went to Miami and Dirk won.
Yeah, this is the
so it has a great
this had the Jordan Challenge, which at the time was just unbelievable, right? They did another Jordan Challenge recently last year, and then they did like the Kobe moments for this season. But this was the first one they did, and it was unbelievable attention to detail. You boot up the game, and the very first thing you see is you're in the tunnel, and Michael Jordan is standing in front of you, in his Chicago Bulls warm-ups, and he turns around, he kind of looks at the camera, he's like, "You ready?" And then you have that classic Bulls walkout song when they're doing their intros, and you come into the arena and the crowd's going wild. It was amazing. And they had like the different era filters, so you could play. They have classic teams. Oh, that's a big thing in 2K. So they had teams from the 50s on up to today. And like if you would play with the 50s and 60s, it would be all in black and white. You go into like the 70s, 80s, you have that what do they call it? Technovision or whatever, like where the colors were, the colors were there, but they weren't quite right. They were a little too saturated and everything. So I mean, it was just an incredible package altogether. You already put up the next one, but it's College Hoops 2K8. I think probably the best college sports game ever made.
Who's on the cover?
Basketball. That is, oh my God, what is that guy's name?
It's not the guy that went to the Blazers, right? Greg Oden?
No. I forget this guy's name. I feel bad now.
Where's Ferris?
I'm sure somebody in the chat has it. Technicolor, yes, Basil, thank you. Let me look it up. But the thing with this game is, everybody loves the kind of college football recruiting and everything, right? And you love the atmosphere and the tradition and all that stuff. And this has that, and it has better recruiting. I guess that is Greg Oden. Huh? Is it Greg Oden? Okay, I thought it doesn't look like him. It doesn't look like him at all. He normally looks like 40 years old. But anyway,
it's Greg Oden. Yeah, I thought it was Greg Oden, but that didn't look like him. But I knew Greg Oden was from Ohio State. That's why I was like, is it Greg Oden?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking because he was there at the same time as Mike Conley, it might have been. But no, because it just doesn't look like Greg to me. But whatever.
It does not look like him because never mind.
But this one has the coaching carousel. You go through a coaching career. You start you can start at whatever school you want. So if you're like me, a Duke fan, you can just pick Duke and just play that, or you can do a coaching career and you start out at a small school and you've got to struggle to make a tournament and then get better offers and try to move your way up the chain. And then the recruiting, it starts down in high school. You can start recruiting high school, I believe it was sophomores or maybe juniors, but you start tracking players when they're in high school, and you kind of recruit them over the course of a couple of years before they can even sign with you. So it's like a lot of long-term planning going on with your roster and everything like that. And it was just, and then on the court, it's a really fun game. It wasn't very realistic, but it was a very, very fun game to play. And like I mentioned with Tecmo, the stars really, really stand out in this one, especially when you're at the lower level schools. So it just made it a lot of fun to kind of jump in and try to work your way up to whoever your favorite team is and see how many titles you can win and everything like that. The last one is kind of out of the
I saw this and it was very strange.
SSX Tricky. Now this is the sequel to the original SSX, which I loved. And it's just again, not a hint of realism anywhere in this. It's a snowboarding game. It's a snowboarding racing game, and they have different tracks going down these mountains, and you would do tricks to kind of fill up your meter, and then your boost meter, and you can boost, you do a speed boost to try and catch up and everything. And it's an addicting loop. It's a ton. And you like once you start playing, you really just can't put it down. I thought they kind of went they went off the rails with when they brought SSX back, and they tried to make it a little bit more realistic. You're going on actual mountains, and it had a darker tone to it, and it didn't work for me. But this was kind of the height of the series where it's just nonstop fun.
Yeah,
so that's
for
my.
sure.
That's
I remember playing those games. I had super fun with it, and honorable mentions for me. And I don't know if you had these. I unfortunately didn't get the pictures up of them. But I don't know if you
Tony
had
Hawk counts, but I never played the Tony Hawk games really. I know.
Well, we'll wait till.
So I figured that would be on your list.
But some honorable mentions, and I don't remember if you played these games. Ready to Rumble.
Yes,
loved Ready to Rumble.
Loved it.
Loved Ready to
Afro
Rumble.
Thunder.
Yep. Oh, exactly. Just tear everybody up with him. There was I don't know the exact name of it, and I downloaded the photo, but I don't remember the company. But do you remember the old surfing company that had like the pink, blue triangle, things like that? Well, they had a game where you can surfboard, roller skate, hacky sack, things like that. And it was like a competition game. I played it all the time. I forgot the name of it, but I played it all the time. And then when I lived in an apartment, we were not allowed to play this game because we had neighbors below us.
I know what you're gonna. I was just thinking. Well, I'll let you go.
Say it. Let's see if you.
I'm thinking the old Nintendo game with the pad where you got the
track and field
game. Yeah, the
track and field. Because you're playing with a controller, you had to sit there and do this, and it was miserable. Yeah. But with the pad, you could jump on it. Yeah. But then I was fat as a kid, so when you did the hurdles, you had to go. Yeah. And then if you messed up and like kicked it, it would pull the whole system out. Right. So we weren't allowed to play the damn game. But Lando, you're talking about Tony Hawk. My number 5, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the original. I played this for hours upon hours in the day. Love this game. I think I got most of everything unlocked. Even I think Tony Hawk 2, I got most everything unlocked. But I actually got this on Xbox, and of course, surprise, surprise, I haven't played it.
You got the re-release, the remasters,
the 1 and 2. Yeah. I played it one time and haven't played it since.
Of course.
Of course. That's just how I roll. But it was one of my favorite games. Number 4 was a game that nobody could beat me in. I played the arcade version, the 64 version, and I beat everybody. Because you know why? Because the man on the cover was the best player in this game. NFL Blitz. Okay. I went to a camp where they had the arcade version, and I stayed undefeated all weekend and beat everybody. They had to have the camp counselors kick me off because nobody could beat me. NFL Blitz was
because you were supposed to be doing arts and crafts, Suge.
I was too busy with Cordell Stewart beating people. Okay, that game was so fun because if someone threw the ball, you could just hit them, and the ball would fly in the air, and you just intercept the ball. That's all I did. And I would piss off my best friend. He threw the controller at me, I want to say 10 or 9 times in my lifetime. Or because he would throw the ball deep, and all I would do is just slide, make him pick the ball up, and then I would intercept it. And he wanted to murder me every freaking time. Blitz. No, I didn't like Blitz League because I didn't like the whole if your player got injured, you could. I don't know. It wasn't me. The original Blitz was my favorite. All right, my next game. This is one of my favorites too because I used to like to. You could do this whole thing where you can get 3 Jordans and put them all on one team. So it was the 96, the 89, and the 2000 whatever Jordan.
Is it? Yeah. This was on my list too. This is on my list too.
Love this game. And the original game had this Afro player that looked just like Julius Erving, but they couldn't call him Julius Erving. And in this one, they actually put Julius
Stretch, I believe they called him.
Yeah, Stretch. And then this one, they actually get to put him with his nets, the ABA original I used to love this game.
Man.
I wish they would bring this game back and be able to play it online. That would be amazing.
It's one of it might not seem like, but that's one of my favorite moments in gaming ever. When you first boot up NBA Street Volume 2 and they reminisce over you, and I turned around and I was like, "This is about to be the greatest game ever made."
I love Street, and I wish they would bring it back so we could play online. All right, the next one is a compilation of games. I spent hours, and I know, Brodny, you probably played this. I don't know if you have the system to play it, but if you did, you spent hours playing this game. And it's a group of games because you can't really call it a game, but it's a group of games. But let me tell you, fights broke out with this game.
All right,
I physically got in a fist fight in this game.
Let me guess what it is before you put it up. Let me guess.
Go ahead.
Is it Wii Sports?
It's Wii Sports. Yes. Let me tell you something. That I called in sick to work because I wanted to try to bowl a perfect game. I got into a physical fist fight over Wii tennis.
Why would you get into a fist fight when you could just put on Wii boxing?
Right? No, we did it. We did it the real way. Baseball, I had someone throw the controller at me because all I kept doing was hitting home runs off of them. And golf, let me tell you something. It was the same damn course, but I played that thing probably 200 times.
Yeah.
Incredible game. Yeah. Wii Sports was goated. Wii Sports was an amazing game. Yeah. And it was a free game. I actually today I tried talking Kristen to let me buy a Wii. And I kind of convinced her because I said, well, a certain somebody sent me birthday money on my Cash App. And I found a Wii for $45, but the Wii Sports game is another $15. So I think I'm going to get it. And I'm going to bowl because remember with the bowling, you had to bowl a certain amount, and then you got the special ball and the ball would hook more. It would have like stars or whatever.
I didn't need the special one. You got to twist.
Yeah, you just turn it. But if you bowled a certain number every time, you would get the special ball, and the ball would hook more. So you didn't have you could hook it, but it would go. I mean, it would go right on the edge of the gutter and then just curve. And I almost bowled a 300 one time. I was so angry. I do, Derek. I do. I really want that perfect game.
Listen, man, go get that perfect game.
You damn right I am. Yeah, I have this under. Yeah, I loved Wii Sports. Yeah. I figured out with the baseball, if you flick the controller, try to actually hit it most of the time, you get a home run. Exactly. It was easy to get home runs. Tennis, though. Tennis used to be like one. You just go back and forth. The golf one, I was pretty good at.
Tennis, man.
Yeah, I love tennis too.
It gets intense.
Well, I have on the Switch. They have Mario Tennis.
Yeah,
and I freaking get into it so much because I literally love the
tennis games. Great. Yeah, I had virtual tennis was on my list. That was one of the ones that didn't make the cut, but I played. I mean, I don't know how many hours of virtual tennis on the Dreamcast. That was amazing.
Yes. We tennis ended friendships. You damn right. She's gonna buy a Wii and be like, I played Magic all weekend. All right. Yeah, Mario Tennis is dope. I've been playing it lately. Wii boxing kept me in shape. Yeah. All right. The number one game. And I am very surprised, Brodny, you didn't have this one on your list.
Okay.
Because this to me, there is no other sports game that will ever top this.
Well, hold on. What sport is it?
It gives it away.
Is it NBA Jam?
No.
Okay.
They had to change the name of it. They had to change the name of it, though. They had to change the name of it. Because the person on the cover got arrested right after the game came out.
Oh, no. Oh, are you talking Punch Out?
Mike Tyson's Punch Out. This game is one of the best sports games ever.
Listen.
Unrealistic because Dom Flamingo threw the same punch every time. The hippo guy, King Hippo, you just hit him in the stomach, knock him out. Okay?
It's one of the best.
And it was very racist.
I was going to say, it's the most racist sports game of all time, too.
One of the most racist games ever. I played this game for hours, And yes, this game was stressful as hell. Hell yeah. When you would play, and then when you got the code, and it's so funny now because we have internet, you just type in what's the Mike Tyson code, takes you right there. But you had to either know somebody that had the code,
right,
or somebody that got past Soda Pop, got past all these guys that I could never get. I get till this day, I get to the bull guy. I forgot his full name, but I get to him and I can't get past him.
right.
I've tried. I've watched YouTube videos. I've freaking have busted my butt trying to get past them.
And listen, I wouldn't go back to those days where you got a gaming magazine once a month, and maybe there was some hints about the game you were playing, or you had like you said, you had to know somebody who had a code or whatever. I wouldn't go back to it, but there is a certain charm to it, right? Whereas right now, look, I'm playing Starfield right now, and I love Starfield, right? And part of the lure of it is the exploration and everything, and the choices you make and everything, right? And anytime I get to a choice, I pull out my phone, I go to Google, I'm like, what happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? and then I make my decision, right? And it's just not the same, as it was when you didn't have any way of knowing. You just had to do it.
You just had to do it. And then eventually you have to, when you finish the game, you go back and make another choice and see what happens. Be like, all right, do this way. And you spend hours. Right. How many times did you beat Tyson? I beat him 0. I never even got close to Tyson.
Really?
I mean, I put the code in. It killed me every time. I never got into, I couldn't get past Bull, whatever his name was. That stupid Bull Rush. I couldn't do it. I could never get past him. Till this day, I have sat here for hours playing freaking Punch Out. Now, it's not Mike Tyson's Punch Out. It's just the regular Punch Out with Mr. Dream. Yeah, because remember, he got arrested. Yeah. So they changed it to Punch Out, and the final person was Mr. Dream and not Kid Dynamite. Yeah. Mike Tyson. And so I could put the code in, but I get smashed every time.
It's kind of a cheat though, because it has a sports kind of veneer on top of it, but it's really a rhythm game. If you think about it, like they go into their thing, and you gotta be hitting the direction in on time every time, and it's kind of really more of a rhythm game than a boxing game, but. Yeah, but it was so cool. Games, so we can.
It was so cool when the Indian guy would do his disappearing act, and then you knock him out. It was the best. Or it would Don Flamingo or King Hippo when you would have to, he would throw a punch. Before you could throw it, you hit him in the stomach, then you hit him, and then you knock his ass out, and he didn't get up from it. It was like, all right, cool.
Why you didn't have any weight classes? Because Lil Mac never got any bigger.
Mac was a 120-pounder fighting heavyweights, middleweights, cruiserweights.
And then they said, now get in there with Tyson.
Yeah, get in there with Tyson, and hopefully you don't get knocked out. It was the best. I loved it. I still play it. If you don't have the Switch now has N64, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Boy. Yeah. All these games that you can go back and play, and they have Punch Out on it. Going back and playing Punch Out is just fun, and like Jay says, stressful because I get irritated real quick. Like, it's fun at first because I get past the certain boxers, and I'm like, this is cool. And then you get to freaking Soda Pop, and I hate it. No love for Dunk Hunt. I am appalled and baffled. Let me tell you something. Duck Hunt, even if it is, I broke the damn gun because of that fucking dog. That fucking dog kept laughing at me, and I fucking broke the gun, and my mom wouldn't buy it. You gotta remember, this is in the 80s and 90s. You couldn't jump on Amazon and just reorder a new controller, okay? You broke it, guess what? You were never getting another one. Okay, and I broke mine because of that fucking dog.
Well, see, for me, I just had hand-eye coordination, so it wasn't really an issue. I just shot the ducks.
Oh no. If you see me play Apex.
Yeah.
There's persons over there, I shoot that way.
Well, that's because of your favorite James McAvoy movie, Wanted. You're trying to curve the bullets.
Yeah, I'm trying to curve the bullets, and it's just not working. I didn't know it didn't work in games. Thought it worked everywhere.
Duck Hunt is a goddamn liar, man.
Right? He said someone ugly can get Angela Jolie. That's a fucking lie. All right, let's get Week 3 picks, Brodny. You are up by 1.
Look at that.
just a little recap. And I rewatched these and I go, what the hell am I thinking? I took the Jets in the New England game. We both watched Jacksonville, Baltimore. We both lost Dallas.
Okay, everybody on the planet lost that one.
And I took some bad picks in Tampa Bay and LA.
I'll tell you, I would have an even more commanding lead if I didn't throw away my one pick on Washington being an upset special.
Yeah.
And then they went out there, Sam Howell threw 4 picks, and they got beat by 800.
Memory cards changed the game. I don't even think I have it right here. I think it's in my room.
But
I have a PlayStation 2 memory card because I got a place because I borrowed a PlayStation and I went and bought a $45 game, the Need for Speed one. You needed a memory card. The memory card is freaking 8 megabytes.
Yeah.
Do we even use those?
You can't even download a theme for your background for 8 megabytes.
I bought a 2 terabyte thing for my Xbox.
No.
Like, this is what we used to game with?
But I think, again, it's one of those things.
Memory cards are cool until they get corrupted. Yeah. Yes.
But like it's one of those things too that it really brings back the nostalgia in gaming, right? Like you had, I don't know if you played Metal Gear.
Wasn't a big Metal Gear guy.
Oh man. Well, and this wasn't even a memory card thing, right? But there's one boss in the game named Psycho Mantis, and his whole thing is he's a mind reader, right? So you go in and you're fighting him, and you can't do anything against him. Like no matter what you do, he's hitting you, he's killing you, whatever. And the whole thing is he's reading your controller inputs. And the way you beat him is unplugging your controller and plugging it into port 2. And then he can't read your mind and you can beat him. And it's not a thing. Like, how could you do that now? Every controller is wireless, right?
Right. But you know what? That is so stupid, but so good.
It's clever, right? And there was a game for the GameCube. Oh, what is the name now? Oh man. Damn it, I can't remember the name, but it's kind of a sort of a semi-horror game, right? And one of the things that they did, because the whole thing is like your character, you're seeing all these monsters and blah blah, and the more scared you get, like they have a meter of where you kind of go insane, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that they would do if your meter filled up, and people didn't realize because they didn't say. So people were just freaking out when it first came out, is that it would pop up and tell you your memory card was corrupted. And then that you lost all your progress, and then and you lost all the saves on the card and everything. But it was just part of the game, just telling you, it's just to scare you, And you can't really do stuff like that anymore,
No, you don't need to. I remember my friends bringing their memory cards to my house, so we could play. And they got to a certain spot, and we would play at the house. Or they built a character in a game. Very few games at the time that you could build characters and whatever. But you would bring the memory cards, and like you said, 32 megabyte memory cards cost $60. Seemed like a quality investment at the time.
You want to talk about quality investments? So I was one of the original beta testers for Xbox Live, which is ridiculous if you know, because I don't play anything online. I hate it. But I was like, if I'm going to sign up for something, I'm going to sign up. If you're going to give me stuff, I'll sign up regardless of what it is. So they sent me the whole like founder's kit and everything, and it came with like a special memory card that was orange and it had like a little cap. It was like a keychain. And then one year because again, this is before like roster sharing and everything, and EA wasn't even on Xbox Live at this point. I paid somebody $20 so I could physically mail them my memory card, and they downloaded the NCAA football rosters onto my memory card and mailed it back. The best investment I've ever made.
This is where you could trust people back then. I'm going to send you my stuff, and I hope you're not going to steal it.
Yeah, I'm going to send you my stuff and money. Please return it. Keep the money. Send me my stuff back.
What a time to be alive. All right, let's do our week 4 picks because it's
going down again.
I guess we are. All right, Detroit Green Bay. This is going to be a good game. This is going to be a really good game.
Should be a good game. Problem here, I would take Green Bay, but Jordan Love is not good. But it's Thursday night. Green Bay's at home. Christian Watson sounds like he's going to be back, so I am going to go with Green Bay, actually.
Yeah, I told myself I wasn't going to go against you, and I was going to kind of stick to the script. I'm going to go Detroit.
All right.
I'm going to go Detroit. Atlanta, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville looked so bad, but I think they bounced back against Atlanta, get that win, even though it is 9:30 in the morning. This is the one that's going to be on Nickelodeon and Toy Story Vision. I'm watching this on Nickelodeon.
You should
It's
just have
gonna
someone
be
take
amazing.
just take shrooms and watch it.
It's gonna be amazing.
Jacksonville, Miami, Buffalo. This team's
Wow.
Buffalo better not let them score over 40 points on them.
Game of the week right here, and I think Miami just keeps it going, and they get the win over Buffalo.
Yeah, I think it's Miami. I think it's Miami for sure. Denver, Chicago. Who is going to be more?
Speaking of keeping it going, Denver's not recovering from that 50-point beatdown in 7 days. I'm taking Chicago to get their first win.
Is Chicago won a game?
No.
I'm taking Denver. Shout out to Adelia. I'm taking Denver. All right, Baltimore and Cleveland. This is a tough one here.
It is a tough one for all the reasons that we mentioned earlier. But, I think man, I think Lamar bounces back with a big game and Baltimore gets it done.
Yeah, I think Baltimore's going to come out and play, but I think that defense is going to get to them, though. I'm taking Cleveland at home.
Okay.
Cincinnati, Tennessee.
Cincinnati keeps it going, even though Joe Burrow's still playing like garbage. But Tennessee is garbage, so I'm taking the Bengals on the road.
Yeah, I am taking the Bengals on the road. LA Rams versus Indianapolis Colts.
This one kind of depends on if Anthony Richardson's coming back. If Richardson's back, I think I would take the Colts in a close one. If it's Minshew again, I'm taking the Rams. But for the purposes of the show, I'm just going to go ahead and take the Rams.
I will also take the Rams. I think Indianapolis showed a lot last week, but I don't think they can do it twice in back-to-back weeks. Tampa Bay, New Orleans. Derek Carr might be hurt and might not be playing.
And it might be an upgrade. No, I think that I'm going to take New Orleans, whether it's Carr or Winston. And I think that Tampa Bay are probably the biggest frauds in the league.
You don't trust Baker Mayfield?
I do not.
All right, I got you, New Orleans. Washington, Philadelphia.
I'm going to say that two things are true in this game. Washington bounces back from that terrible performance, and they still lose to Philly.
So I'm assuming you're taking Washington.
No, taking Philly.
I'll also take Philly. Minnesota at Carolina.
Just move on, man. Take Minnesota, move on.
They're going to take Carolina? I'm
taking Minnesota, move on.
All right, we'll take Minnesota. Pittsburgh at Houston.
Fucking ridiculous. All right. Kenny is still Kenny, but he's working his way back. I'm going to take Pittsburgh to triumph over an inconsistent Houston Texans team.
Yeah, I'm obviously going to be taking Pittsburgh. I think they're going to play well offensively. I think defensively, TJ Watt's going to have a big game and show that he is going to be the defensive player of the year. Las Vegas versus LA Chargers.
I can't pick the Raiders because they are bad. And I mean like any week. So I'm taking the Chargers.
I'll also take the Chargers. New England at Dallas. Does Dallas go 0-2 in the last 2 weeks?
New England is going to be the unfortunate victims of a very angry Dallas Cowboys team, and I think Dallas wins this one by a couple touchdowns.
I am so tempted to take New England right here because Mac Jones is just giving cup checks to people.
God, I hate that guy so much.
I'll take Dallas. Arizona and San Francisco. Wait, did they just play? No, that was the Giants. Arizona and San Francisco.
I mean, Arizona won their Super Bowl already, right? And they're not gonna win 2 in a row. So it's definitely San Francisco.
Definitely think it's San Francisco. Kansas City and New York Jets.
Kansas City and the New York Jets. I wonder if I'm gonna pick the 2-time Super Bowl champions or the team who thought Trevor Siemian was an upgrade at quarterback. I think I'll go with Kansas City on this one.
Well, I feel you should have took the Jets. I'll also go with Kansas City. And Monday Night Football, you have Seattle versus Ferris's New York Giants.
That's a tough one because I don't think that Seattle's really good, but neither are the Giants. And I'm not sure what could happen that would really change for New York. But then again, playing on the road, is Seattle good? Like the Seattle's defense is not very good. This is a tough one. I'm going with Geno and the Seahawks.
You know what? You know what's going to happen? Danny Dimes is about to have that barbecue.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
I am going with the New York Giants to win it on Monday Night Football. Let's go. All right. Next week, we will be back. We'll see how our picks did. Hopefully, I will catch up to Brodny. Again, I'm only one behind, but
you're not going to catch up.
Good.
And I just looked it up. That game that made you think that you corrupted your memory card, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem on GameCube.
GameCube was so... I like GameCube.
Garbage.
Game Sharks were too expensive. I stole one from Circus City back in the day, and I had to stay outdated.
Everything about that comment,
First off, Circus City was the best. One of my good friends, he had a little bit of money, and so we would go to Circus City, and he would buy stuff. But it felt like we were buying it with him because you walk in, you see the big screen TV. I think he bought his first TV from there. I didn't help him carry it because the damn thing was a big screen TV and had an ass the size of a dinosaur in the back of it, and we had to carry it into his house, and it was a pain in the ass. I swear to God, if we ever had to go back to that, I'd be miserable. Those TVs were miserable.
Fucking trapezoids and everything. I know.
Yeah. Do you remember when they were in wooden cabinets?
Yeah.
My mom had one. How did we do it, Brodny?
Man, we had those Sony Vega TVs where it had the back was like, it's 2 feet deep or whatever, but every ounce of the weight was in the screen. And so it was just impossible to hold it properly because the back end weighed nothing and the front end weighed 130 pounds. Those are the worst.
I gotta ask you, how's the keyboard smell? It smells amazing. Smells amazing. Yeah, the OG bubble back chaff. I just couldn't go back to that. Everything's flat now. Now you walk into Costco, whatever, and they got these TVs looking like you're really in the ocean. 75 inches. You're
75 inches and 10 pounds.
Where did this technology come from? Because they're light as a feather.
Everything is better now.
When you go to bars and it's a big bar and they would have a screen and then they would project it. The place we went to called Ellis Island, called the Backyard. It's all outside of the casino. It has a roof, covers it so you're not getting sunburned. But I thought it was a screen, and Chris goes, "No, that's a TV." And I looked, it was a TV, huge. It was probably 100 inches, and it was this big.
Yeah.
And it looked amazing. Looked beautiful on there. I was like, oh my God. And it was so dope because they had that big screen TV. They had on each side, they had I think there were probably 42-inch TVs going down the thing and behind you in the bar. It was amazing. I had a great time there. This, like I said earlier, when the Super Bowl happens in Vegas, I wouldn't want to be there. I wouldn't even want to live there because of how crazy it's going to be and how wildly expensive it's going to be there for that week. Not even the weekend. Because people are going to be there from the Monday before, maybe even Sunday before, until probably people are probably going to be there for 2 weeks. They're going to be living in a hotel for 2 weeks. So it was a great time in Vegas. I had a great time. Very much a sports city. There's booking sports everywhere. You can go to stadium seating where you can sit and bet sports and watch all these games. It was truly amazing. The only thing that annoyed me was on Sunday, all the casino dealers were wearing jerseys. But you would ask them, "Oh, that's your favorite team?" And they're like, "I don't even know who this is."
Yeah,
That wear for work.
It's their job.
The word Stadium Swim in Vegas has some massive screens like a pro stadium. Yeah, someone told me about this other hotel that I'm probably going to try to stay at, but it's in Fremont. And they were showing me the pool area, and it has just massive TVs that you can sit, drink, and watch football and stuff like that. So I want to try that because it seems dope as hell. But we have been here way too long. Yeah. I told Brodny last time, we're like, hey, we're going to try to get out of here in an hour, under an hour. And that didn't happen. So we're going to get out of here. So, Brodny, before we get out of here, please let the people know where they can find you, where they can watch your content, and if Ring Kings is ever going to come back, because we do know that
Games is back. You can find me on Lunch Break Hot Take Wednesday evenings, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, followed up by the Overtime Show for patrons. I'm just in shock that you would continually do that to me. You can also find me on Monday at 9 p.m. over on Sip to Tally Films for the Ravens Roundup. Myself, Jose, Hendo from the Rogue Pod, OTR Mike from Open Mike, Chris from Deep Cover Pod, and of course, Coach Evans, because it is his channel. And you can also find me this Saturday night, technically Sunday morning, probably, after the Canelo Alvarez and Jermell Charlo fight over on Ring Kings podcast with Jose and OTR Mike. We're going to be live streaming after the event and giving our thoughts on the fight. Because Ring Kings podcast hasn't gone anywhere. Suge's notifications are just messed up. He keeps talking. He won't open the YouTube app and check his notifications, but that's all right. We still love you, Suge. But Ring Kings podcast is here to stay. We didn't go anywhere. And you can catch us live this Saturday night.
And once again,
Old Man Gamers is back.
No STV cock, because we've been here for 2 hours. You got your STV cock.
We did a whole thing on video games.
They want to talk about Starfield. That's what it is.
Listen, Starfield's amazing. And hey, shout out to Ferris if he's still in there, because I got a message from him in the Discord that he finally beat that one mission that he has been doing since September 18th, somewhere around there. It's been a while, but he finally passed it. So shout out to Ferris. Congratulations.
Now he's on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. But knowing Ferris, oh my God, it actually was the 18th. But yeah, we'll see. That wasn't even the end of the mission. That was just the end of that part of the mission. So we'll see.
And for me, you can find me here at Suge Knight 323, YouTube, Twitter, and Suge Knight 1323 on Twitch from UG Gaming. Going to be doing that. Obviously, I am back from Vegas, so I'll be doing a little bit more gaming as much as possible. Playing some games, playing Fortnite, playing. Thank you. I am a superhero now.
You know what, Ferris? I'm a superhero too. I got my power. My first one. Feels good, man.
There you go.
Feels
if
good.
You want to catch more Starfield content, join the LBHT crew Discord. It's a fun Discord. Join their Patreon. The OT show is amazing. We always have a good time and have a good time with good conversations. Make sure to see their show tomorrow. like Brodny said, 4:15 PST, 7:15 Eastern. They're a lot better. They go like an hour and then they do the OT shows. So unlike us here, they understand time. So go hang out with them tomorrow. Be here next Tuesday.
I'm part of that they.
Yeah, so I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. You guys are a tandem.
Yeah.
You guys are like You guys are like brothers.
Well, yeah, like brothers. That is true.
Yeah, you're like the Wayans brothers. Well, actually, no, you're not because you're Spanish. What I was told yesterday.
Or Puerto Rican. Or I'm sorry. Or just Puerto Rican, as he said.
But Boswell pointed out earlier, you're Alaskan and black. Like I said, we call that black ice. You know, is Alaskan like even is that a race?
It's not a race. There are native Alaskans.
Yeah. So you're a native Alaskan?
No, I'm not. Those are the people who bought my birthplace, so I can't go back. So that's cool. Yeah.
We should go take it back.
Should.
Let's do it. I'm down. Whoever wants to join us next week. We're taking it back. Anyway, have a good night. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. Everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here. Make sure to hit that like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next week. Have a good night.